maybe. All right, we'll get cracking. I appreciate everybody jumping on the call. Really looking forward to this one. We hope to maybe do a series or maybe a follow-up. We'll see how far we get with this presentation. And so, hope everyone's staying safe and healthy and staying at home, washing your hands and doing what we're supposed to be doing right now. Again, I'd like to thank MSYSA, obviously, for giving us the opportunity to provide this fantastic, program. I've been using SportSessionPlanner for 2 or 3 years now, and it's a fantastic platform. So I'd like to introduce Magnus. He's going to take us through a quick demo, and then I think at the end of the call, I'll certainly stay on the call and answer any sort of questions. We'll do a little Q&A at the end, and then we'll go from there. So take it away, Magnus.
Thank you very much indeed. Firstly, it's an absolute pleasure to be here. Very, very proud partner of MSYSA, and we developed this partnership probably around about 18 months ago with Nathan and myself. And what we're looking to do is use this negative opportunity to really try and make something good out of it and provide, really push the resource that you guys have got. And what the main aim of tonight is that I'm going to show you the new resource, which is going to become available to all of you. If you haven't got it already, you will have in the very near future by the end of the week. And so we have released SSP version 2.0, which I'm going to show you this evening. I'm also going to do a quick navigation around the platform. I'm going to show you the libraries, some of the benefits that you're going to receive from MSYSA on their behalf. And I'm also going to show you some of the new search mechanisms we have so that you can create sessions very, very easily without having to put too much effort in. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to share my screen. I don't know whether or not it'd be a good idea if people switch their video off just for the sake of the screen share demonstration, just because sometimes it lags. So if you could switch off your video. Jill, I love your background, by the way. It's fantastic. And then at the end, like Alan said, what we'll do is we'll open it to the floor, and I'm here to take any questions at all. Don't make them too tricky, but I will do my best to answer. And like I say, hopefully this is a very informative tutorial for you. So without further ado, Alan, I'm going to share my screen. I will switch off my video, and then I will share my screen right here. Okay.
Awesome.
So, so I'm actually, for the purpose of this, I'm logged in as Alan. Now, we are very close to releasing a branded version of this. We've had a few issues of our own today with a couple of the servers, so we haven't managed to put the brand new branding on, but that should be with you for Monday, I'm told, by the developers, which would be a nice pretty background as well, rather than the blue one, which is also quite nice. But so expect that coming. So what I'm going to do, I'm firstly going to look at these 4 libraries that we've got here. So I'm going to treat this as just, if you haven't seen SportSessionPlanner before, then, or you're not that familiar with it, I'm going to kind of do a straight from the start overview. So my sessions, for example, this particular library is where it stores all of the content, all of the session plans that belong to you. So basically it's your own coaching portfolio, it's your repertoire of sessions. And this is what we want you to build this up so that you've got some great practices in here. These are the ones that have been created by Alan, and they're great. He's put in a lot of detail into the sessions, and you've got some fantastic progressions within there. and you've got your own session plan. So this is where you're creating all of your own content. So that's the My Sessions library. The second library that we've got is going to be built up. So this is going to have, as time goes by, it's going to be built up more and more, and it's going to have a range of sessions from coaches, all of the coaching members within the MSYSA, which is a lot. So the idea behind this is that you can share good practice. So that's the reason that we created this private library for MSYSA. And when you save a session, it is also becomes visible on the club library. So for example, if I look at Carmen's at the top here now, if I was to click on Carmen's and then I go down, then I can actually copy this session. So I could go in and I can click clone straight away. So I click on clone, it takes me to the session plan. I'll come back to the session planner itself in slightly later, but just for now, all I'm going to do is click save. So I click save, it takes me to there. I'm just going to put test clone. So the purpose of that was just to demonstrate that basically, look, there we go. That's now in my my session repertoire. So from Carmen has provided a session plan. I've cloned it, and that is what I mean by sharing good practice. So I could go and do that with. Now I could go in to Brent and look at the goalkeeping session that he's created on there. Very nice progressive session. So again, utilizing the content that's already on the system to then go in and save and share sessions with all of the MSYSA members. So that's what we've got that library for, and that's going to get built up and built up and built up as we move on. So the third library that we've got is a developmental library. So this the purpose of this is that at the moment we've got 3 libraries of EPL Academy sessions, best practice academy sessions that are used by Premier League clubs in England, and they're set out in a specific format. And they're years 9 to 11, 12 to 16, and then 18 to 21. So if I click on this, for example, this 9 to 11, you can go in here to this library and you can click in the drop down and you can select what you want here. So you could go, right, actually I want, I'm really focusing on 12 to 16 years. So I'm going to go into here. So I could click onto here, and then we've got all the sessions that Nathan has dropped into here. So we've got PDP sessions, continuous defending, half pitch with additional 10-yard channel inside opposing half. So in other words, practice organization goes into detail of how you should set it up. And then it's got there. Here are the coaching points and all the rest of it. Everything is down there in masses of detail. And I could go in and go, right, look, I love that. I'm going to clone that particular session again, using best practice sessions that are put on library, that are put on by the MSYSA. And these libraries are going to develop as we grow, and we work in collaboration with the MSYSA to support them with developing the libraries. So again, that's in there. I've just put that in there, and now that belongs to Alan. So it was Nathan's. Nathan's is still there, but we've now got it in there as well. So I'll delete that because we don't need it. So this library here, you go in, just to make it clear, you go into this area here, you select the drop down you want, and we've got 3 full libraries here. You look at the foundation sessions, you've got shooting, you've got pass and receiving, combination play, receiving and turning, attacking combinations, counter-attacking. It's got all the sessions that you can possibly imagine that were provided initially by the English FA. And what we've done is we've worked with the MSYSA to adapt these so that it would suit your requirements. Now, just going in here, here's one on developing quick play. So you've got the practice organization there, and you can see it there from another angle. But then you've got that on there, and It looks fantastic. So that is what that library is all about. So that's, keep an eye out as well, because I think, Alan, you'll back me up on this. This is going to grow, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be like I say, it's once you get into it and and get using it, I think everybody can jump on board. It's a fantastic tool. So yeah, it's going to continue to grow for sure. Even the last 2 weeks, just having the webinars, there's been a lot more engagement from coaches, so it's been great.
Yeah, fantastic, good. So I mean, keep an eye out as well, because we're coming up with new ideas as well, as the MSYSA partners, to advise them with some new functionality that we've got with the software that could also support some of the libraries. For example, match templates, things like that we could be adding on soon. So then we look at this session library here. Now, quite excited about this because we've improved massively the keyword search on this, and this is what I want to focus on today. So for those people who aren't familiar with this library, this is the biggest digital library that exists. We've not created it at all. Our members have. So over the last 9 years, all of our members have chosen to, if I can explain how, down here, if you make your session public on there, then the session will appear in this library here. So if I look at, for example, we've got Duane there, we've got Carmen, Andy Jones, we've got Evolution coaches. So we've got people from all over the place. So if I look at, say, for example, we look at Andy Jones is here, playing out from the back. Andy's from Swansea. And he's got all of his sessions are on here, and he's put a really detailed practice on playing out from the back there. So if I wanted to now, I could go in again and clone his session. I've shown you that enough times, so I don't think I need to do that again. So what you can do here, because we've got nearly 1 million practices on this particular library, which is maybe a little bit overwhelming, but what we've got is a filter. So down the left-hand side here, if you just look at all of the topics that you've got nearly 70 categories that we've devised that over a period of time from feedback. So we've got kind of the modern day terminology, like the low block, the high block, the finish the attack, the reactive pressure, the mid block and press. Then we've got functional movements, so defending practices, midfielder practices, striker. Then we move on to goalkeeping. Got a huge repertoire of goalkeeping. In fact, I'll click on 1v1s. So if we look at the goalkeeping sessions, you've literally got, and I've just clicked on 1v1s there, 8 pages of 1v1 goalkeeping practices, which is outstanding, So you could go in there. Some of the sessions are quality. So someone like Anthony Williams, who, I've seen him on here before, a licensed coach, really, really good stuff going on there. And he's got advanced session there on 1v1 situations, and he's focused on goalkeeping with this particular one. So you've got that, and you can find all that information. But probably the best feature of Sports Session Planner, in my opinion, is this switch to Session Builder. So if I was to click on that now, then what this does, this takes me to a library where of drills, so practices, so individual practices. So it's amalgamation of all of the practices that exist on Sports Session Planner. But what we can do is we can actually filter and find out individual practices. So what I want to do is just use this keyword just to begin with to demonstrate how simple it is for you to go in and find a particular practice that you could use and not have to draw it out. So if I go in like 3v1, for example, we do this. I always think possession's a good way of demonstrating how good this is. So I look at that, I've got 3v1, yeah, and I have got 14 pages of 3v1 situations. So I can go in there and I can look very quickly and just glance and go, yeah, that's the one. I want it to look like that. So I'm just going to drop it in. I don't care about the content because I can write my own coaching points in there. And then I might go in for like a 5v2. So I go on into 5v2, and then I've got, again, 6 pages. You know, there's 30, so 180 practices on 30 drills on a page. So then I can go from there to there and go, right, I'll have 5v2. Let's go a bit more advanced. We'll go 4v4 plus 3, say. So I'll load up 4v4 plus 3, and we've got that. Someone from the Red Bulls has done that. So I do that, and I could go 4v4 plus 4, just showing you like how amazing it is to get the content. And you've got 5 pages of 4v4 plus 4, 4v4 plus 5, sorry, 4v4 plus 5. You got a few in from there as well. So you could drag that in. So you've got that. You could go in a little bit more in depth if you want to. So if I put receiving on the back foot, something like that, you know, receiving on the back foot is a practice that is, you know, a great practice, but you might not be able to find too much stuff for it, or find the actual name that provides you with a drill. So to type that in and be able to find that is fantastic. And there you go. You've got 3 practices: receiving on the back foot, angles, triangles, weight of the pass, shoulder looking before receiving. You've got the information there. It's already been done for you. Put it in. You can rearrange these practices any way you want. So I put that as a warm up there. And then I can, you know, move this about. I can remove that. I'll delete that one. Okay, so that's one thing that you can do. Then what you could also do is you can actually get the drop down of the categories that I showed you before. So if I was to go into, say, throw-ins, for example, it's always quite difficult to think of ideas for throw-ins, and they're never very readily available. But if I go into this, we've got throw-ins, switch in the play. I could go from there to there, drop that into there. So I can have a throw-in practice just there. So there we go. So all I've done is I've gone in there and I've got ideas for what I want to do today. I've got 3v1 with a 5v2 or a 4v4 plus 5 on there. And I've got throw-ins as a warm-up, because we're not very good. My side's not very good at getting the ball down and doing, you know, throw-ins within a game situation. Don't know the combinations. So I've made something very quickly. So what I can also do is, what I want to point out as well is that what we've also got as a filter is the libraries. So this particular library is a summary of all of the practices that are on SportSessionPlanner, so all sessions. But if I was to go to my sessions now, and then I go to all categories, so I'm logged in as Alan. These are all Alan's drills. Okay, these are all his practices within here. So then what I can do is I can go, right, okay, I'm going to use that practice that I did, you know, last week, and then I'm going to drop in this particular practice into there. So I've got, you know, a combination of my practices that I've already created in a different order. So there we go. What I'll do now, I'll just remove a couple of things, and then I'm just going to go into, with these practices, create session. So now taking you to the final part of the presentation, which is the new session planner. So this is SSP version 2.0. And if I can just give you a bit of background on this. So when we first created SSP, it was on Flash. So we created it and it was released in 2011. It was the first system in the world that actually was a drag and drop platform in a 360 environment. And really, it still is one of the only ones that does it, pretty much. So, in fact, I think it is. So now what we've got is we knew that Flash was going to be redundant from December 2020, which it still is. So we've been working very, very hard to create this new version, which is available on iOS and Android devices, so tablets, phones, all of them. And this HTML5 JavaScript platform has taken us to another level, but it's taken us 4 years because the technology literally has not been there on these on the HTML5 platform. So only until recently have we managed to kind of crack the nut on it. So what we've got now, as you can see, is a massively improved graphical system. So Flash probably got you to about there, and then it went a bit grainy. Whereas now what you can do is I'm using the Surface Pro, I'm using 2 fingers to move around, like navigate like a drone. And what you can now do for the first time ever is actually, with a drag and drop session planner, view the session from any angle at all. So I can go in and look at from any angle whatsoever using touchscreen. So tablets, obviously, the Surface Pro gives you that functionality as well. So that's the first thing that's the massive improvement, is the touchscreen and the ability to get right in there and look from different angles, which is great. So pretty much any angle you want. The second thing that we've got is that, let's take this practice for example, and I look from an overhead point of view, is that now what we've got is we've got shapes. So circles, squares, triangles in line with the USSF. So if I was to click on the circles there, and then if I click on the circle there as well, maybe there, then what you've got now is you've got a tactics board. All right, so we can do a couple of things with this now. Same kind of layout, but everything's a little bit more different and advanced. So the first thing I can do is I could drop in numbers, drop in a number into the tactics pieces, or I could put in attacking midfielder, drop that into there. But first tactics board in the world, again, any angle can view it from. So now I can actually look at it from anywhere, but as a tactics board. And you might just want to keep it overhead view, which most people do with the tactics board, but you've also got that flexibility. So that's that. Going back to this, so what we've got now, slightly different. So it's all touchscreen now. So we've got clone, we've got rename, clear pitch, delete. So what we could do with this particular practice, we could clone it. And it might be that, let's just have a look, zoom out a little bit. So we've got the setup there. So what we might do is we might go, all right, I've just cloned it. So we just go there so you can see it. So we've got that is now exactly the same. So I'll move it onto there. So that is that, and there's progression. So what I might do is just go, well, I'll tell you what, I just want to drop in a floating player onto the pitch there. So now I call this a 3v3 plus 1. So I could just rename and just put 3v3 plus 1 and add that on, and there you go. There's a new practice. I've not had to write it all out again. All I've done is just added one person in. So that's a good, nice little productivity function button there to clone and rename as well on that particular one. So what else have we got as well? Well, what you could do is you can just delete the pitch altogether. So you can go in, click delete, that will appear, remove. What I want to show you as well is the quality of the equipment. So if I drag on the equipment here, make it a bit bigger. So you've got now, you can see the graphics are very, very clear. So you can get some fantastic snapshots in here as well for social media or presentations, or if you wanted to show the players. You've got, all these features exactly the same, but just nicer graphics. So you've got the row of cones, or you've got the row of poles. You can tap on the color palette. It's going to change the color of everything. You can do it for your club colors. It's quite nice. Let's move to the other side. You've got mannequins, balance balls. You've got rebound boards, which actually would be quite handy at the moment. And then you've got other things like the flat mats, hurdles, ladders. All this might be quite useful at this present moment in time if you wanted to design a home session for the players. So you've got all of those options there. Clear the pitch again. So massive improvement on the lines for those of you who've used SSP before. So now what we've got is the ability to actually change from dots to solid. So you don't have to, you've got that flexibility. But what I love about it, in fact, I'll use it on this because this is one of the new functions. So what we can do now is we can click on pin. So instead of having to go back each time and go, oh, one new line, what we can do now is go there, to there, to there, to there, to there, to there. So a new function on that, which is great. Absolutely love that. And then what we've also got as well is a much improved freehand line. So you can literally, you can get really, really intricate with that. So the free line is much better. So you got dribble as well, you know, exactly the same. Massively improved on the Flash system, which lagged, but that was just the technology. You've got the shaded pitch area, okay, which again, you can color it in. You can choose what color you want for that. Like anything with SSP as well, before I forget, what you've got is this copy button here. So I can actually copy anything, any object, any player, anything on the pitch. You can change that as well. So you can get your shaded pitch areas, which just saves you having to draw out the cones. We're going to be adding different shapes on that as well. In terms of the letters, a few changes. So what we've got now, we've got transparent lettering, which we didn't have before. We just had this block text, which I didn't particularly like, and that's changed now. And then what you can do is you can put in, so if I put in, that's why I say there, drag that onto the pitch, and rotate it wherever you look in that 3D environment, it's still going to be there. And so when you actually save your session, it will look good. Kits have changed. So if I just show you now, so you can change from stripes, we're going to be adding on 8 different more kits as well, which will be coming in the future. Also, one thing that I want to add in, just because you might ask at the end, the female avatars is a massive priority for us, and we actually created them 4 years ago in Flash, but then obviously Flash has been made redundant, so we didn't deploy them. So in the new platform, that's the first thing that's getting deployed once this is released to absolutely everyone. So just wanted to explain that. Right, so other things, just very quickly. So you've got different pitch views on here. And then once you've done it, I mean, obviously, you know, this isn't really a session that I would create, but I've just been demonstrating different parts of it to you. Once I've done everything, and I get the angle that I want, which I think is probably there and there, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click save. So I go to save, and it takes me to this page. So I'm just going to put test session. And then what I'm going to do is select a title. So for this particular one, I'm going to go in, I'm going to select possession, and it's for the first team. I select my calendar, sorry. And then what I can do, I can change the time, which will appear on my session plan. The other thing I can do is add a video. So we use YouTube for the video links, just because obviously it's a cloud sharing device. You can open it on any device, and it can be opened on an iPad or an iPhone. So if you've got a particular YouTube video that you want to add to your session, I just pause that. The code is in the URL bar, so we need to copy that. We then paste it into there. There's also somewhere else, another way that you can do it as well. I'll save the session. So save the session. Now that I've saved the session, I click on the session plan itself. So there's a few things that we can do here now. So the first thing that I can do is I can, and probably the most impressive, is that I can use this as a presentation tool. So I can now click on full screen, and if I'm on an iPad or any kind of device, then I can actually now use this in a coaching session to move the tactical pieces and get my point across there. So you can use this brilliant for a game situation. So if you've got 11v11 lineup and you want to show different scenarios, then you can. The other thing that you can do with this is click the pen in the bottom right hand corner, and you can actually use this as a scribble board. You say, I want you to play the ball over there. You go and receive it, you know, and have a shot. So you could do that and click off, and it goes. Purely a presentation tool, not going to edit anything at all. So that's that. The other thing I can do as well, if I go to edit page, I can actually edit any of the text within this. What I can also do is I can remove the YouTube video and I can attach it on there as well. Okay. Final thing that I want to show you on when you're saving a session is, if I put hashtag MSYSA, I can put hashtag on here. I can create a very, very clever shortcut. So if I click Save Changes now, and then I go to My Sessions, we know that we've got all these categories down the left-hand side, but we want to create one for ourselves. There it is. So we've actually created our own category and shortcut. So you could have that as U12s, U13s. It might be switching play. It might be attacking, or it might be match day documents. And you can click it there, and the session appears. So we'll go back into this same session. I'll remove that so that it doesn't mess your session up, Alan. So I'll just remove that there. Okay. So other things that you can do that I'll just make you aware of. You can make this a public session. So by going to the sharing options, you can make it public. You can tweet it, all right, which will then go out to everyone on Twitter, Facebook as well, and it will show a thumbnail of the session and a link to the session plan itself, which will all be a part of the MSYSA. So it's actually quite a good way of, you know, sharing the, spreading the word. You can click on link session, you can copy that, and you could email it to anyone. That person would, even if they haven't got a membership, would be able to go in and actually go and use this 3D presentation tool as well, which I think is really, really special. You could click on edit the session, which will take you back to the session plan, to the session editor, sorry, and you can edit the session. You can delete the session. You can save it as a PDF and then email it to someone, or you could clone the session as well. If you clone the session, it will basically duplicate the session itself, but you could maybe make changes or, you know, add and remove certain parts to it. And that, guys, to be honest with you, is a brief overview of what I've covered there. Is the 4 libraries, the way that you can take content from the club library with fellow MSYSA members, the curriculum library produced by the MSYSA, which is going to be growing all the time, the session library, which has plenty of content that I've shown you how to get access to, and then also the new session planner, which is going to be available to all of you shortly, if it isn't already. So yeah, I think, Alan, anything to add? I mean, I know I've whizzed through it, but just wanted to give a quick overview for the purpose of today.
No, it was awesome. I think, like you said, we're going to look to maybe add a couple of the extras libraries based around the grassroots methodology. So that's one thing we're going to be looking at, and obviously, you know, continue to build those sort of extras libraries to help with cloning and creating sessions. So awesome. I appreciate your time, Magnus, and I'm just going to open it up. If anybody has any questions, just quickly, if you want to unmute. Oops.
Yeah. I think you've got to unmute them all, Alan.
Do I have to do it?
Yeah, you have to unmute them. Unless you make me the host, I'll do it. I don't mind doing it.
No, you don't have to.
No, they can unmute themselves, so if they need to. Like I say, if and obviously, you know, pretty comfortable with utilizing the system. You know, feel free to reach out to me via email if you do come up with any questions as you're working through it. Like I say, it's a free resource through MSYSA for, you know, either individual coaches or as clubs. If clubs want a few licenses to help, I believe we've got up to 100 licenses so far, which is first come, first serve. You know, so, you know, we want to try and get as much out there to you guys as possible. I think after that, the individual licenses are maybe $56 for the year. So it's a great resource, great opportunity for you guys to be able to search new sessions, get new ideas, and obviously help us build a library across the state as well. So last chance, any questions?
I think they are. If you know, on the where you click on Alan, on participants at the very bottom there, I think it says unmute all. So where you click on participants at the bottom there,
All right,
and then it will come up with a list. Yeah, that's it. Got it. And now you're going to hear loads of dogs barking and screaming kids.
All the drama. Any questions? No, it sounds like we should be good. So, like I say, appreciate your time, Magnus. Looking forward. Hopefully, we'll see what the feedback is. I'll get this video out. The recording. I know there's quite a few people wanting the recording.
Happy to do another one of these.
Awesome.
Yeah, happy to do another one of these.
So I appreciate everybody for jumping on. Awesome. Yeah, and we'll reach out, and obviously any questions and stuff. If I can't answer them, I'll be reaching out to you as well. So appreciate your time, Magnus. Thanks very much for everyone jumping in.